this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with the Fancy Fold Craft Challenge 2023 for November 2025. And the fold we have chosen for this today, we call it a multi-panel fold. I will tell you about that in a moment. This Fancy Fold Craft Challenge has been started by Monica, aka Paper Mona, but the other ladies taking part are Katerina from Create with Katerina, Monica Crafting with Quilling Lady, Jenny from Jenny Ginger Ninja Crafts, and Denise from Little G Paper Crafts. And I will link to all their channels and to their videos below in the description box so you can see what they have created with the same prompt. I think we're all starting with the same video, which is a video by Patty Dolan, and she calls this card 2468 card because this is where she puts her score lines at 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches and 8 inches. But Katerina suggested having a different name for this card because then we can change the measurements, and I have done that for my card. So we call it a multi-panel card now. Oh, by the way, Patty Dolan, I think she said she based hers on a video by Patty Bennett, I think her name is. But I checked out that video. It was a very long video, so I will actually put the link below for Patty Dolan's video. So, and for my design, yes, I'm back in my Christmas card making after I made lots of cards in July. And I'm enjoying this, and I'm going to use this paper pad today. And this, I showed that in my haul. It was one of the few things I bought in Germany. I already have 2 of these paper pads from last year. It's a mix of pattern cardstock, ephemera, vellum, sentiments. There's some glitter cardstock in there, so yeah, fabulous. And it is a brand, Deco Time, that is available in the UK. I've seen it at B&M. I think somebody mentioned sometimes these things are available at the range, so you might be able to get hold of that in the UK. As I said, I have bought it in Germany. And the reason why I bought it, I don't like the Grinch really, but I like this little character, and he's supposed to be the Grinch, but he's a really happy chappy. He's not as grinchy as the, you know, the proper Grinch from the TV series, or TV program I should say. So I show you what I have prepared. So it's a super easy card to make, and this is what I like about this, because it's so quick to make, but very effective because it's different. So I have got a piece of cardstock here. It's a thin cardstock from that paper pad, and this is 11 5/8, I believe. This is the width of an A4 piece. So if you have got like 12-inch paper, you could have this pen a little bit wider, but I have based my measurements on the width of an A4 sheet. And I shortened the height accordingly to, let me just check my measurements, 3 3/4. No, sorry, 5 3/4. Yeah, but you could have this taller if you wanted to. And I have scored mine at 1.5 inches, at 3 inches, at 5.5, and at 8. In the original video, the 2 panels we're creating are the same size, and I thought I wanted those staggered. I wanted the first panel to be shorter than the other panel, and this is why I chose this. So 1.5, 3, 5.5 and 8. So, and I'm starting with the 8 one. That's a valley fold. And I fold this over, make sure this is straight, because I want these to fold properly. So, and the next one is a mountain fold. And we've got a valley. And ideally this one lines up here with the back, which it does. And then another mountain fold. And again, ideally this lines up nicely. So I will actually pull it over just a little bit so it doesn't leave the white cardstock there exposed. I've chosen to have this pattern cardstock. You can have some plain cardstock. You could cover these panels with cardstock if you wanted to, but I just preferred it like this. So can you see how this is staggered? It might now have a name already, but that we called it multiple panel card. So I now need to glue these two panels together. So putting glue on here. And fold this over, applying plenty of pressure. And then I'm doing the same with the first panel. So again, putting glue down. And pressing the front down. So I'm leaving that to dry for a moment. So in Patty Dolan's video, she just created a single panel to go in the back for the card to sit on. But I decided to create a 10-fold card. So what I did was, again, I took an A4 sheet, I scored it at 5 7/8 in the middle, I folded it, and I then had to cut just a slither off just to make this even. And I cut this at, let me just check again, yeah, at 4 inches, so that this piece fits on there nicely with an even frame all the way around. Yeah, so I'm going to stick this down. And then I've got enough space for the sentiment on the inside. But you don't have to have a 10-fold card. You can have a side folding card, or you can just have the single panel. So making sure these flaps are on the left-hand side. Well, I suppose they could be on the right-hand side, but I think it's nicer this way. So I can open these up to apply some pressure here. So, and all that's left to do then is to place some embellishments here on these two flaps. I've done the same as Patty Dolan has, and that is to cut some circles. She had some pattern paper and I think sentiment. I used some of the ephemera and I stuck these down on, well, I actually doubled up the circle, so I used this cardstock for the back and this different sort of gingham one for the front, just because my cardstock wasn't very thick. And what you do is you glue one on the first panel and one on the second panel, and I've chosen the little Grinch one for the front. So I need to check now that I only put glue on the bit that overlaps with the panels. I'm moving it even a little bit further out. I'm just marking this here, although I probably could have eyeballed this. And then I only put glue on this side. So I will actually just take a little bit of piece of paper, just put it underneath just in case I do have some glue exposed. So going up probably a little bit over half over there. By the way, I'm this sort of person, I like everything sort of symmetrical and even. I made sure that the gingham was sort of facing that way and wasn't at a diagonal, but that's really up to you. Oh, one little tip for this cardstock here, make sure the direction is, you know, sort of landscape, because I had some pattern paper in that pad that was sort of portrait, so I couldn't use those. So, and then I can take the other piece and this can then sit on this panel. If you have them got the same width, they obviously will sit a bit like this, but now this allows me to have this overlap more with this panel. So I'm just checking where I want it again. I think I just go half with a glue. There is a bit of bulk to this card because of the multiple panels and these elements here, but I think it's nice, especially if you hand deliver it. You can afford that. So you could, if you wanted to, have some hidden elements here, but I'm not going to do that. I have, however, cut out this little fella, and I thought I might actually hide him on this panel, but this is where the sentiment goes. So I have cut a piece of white cardstock. This is 3 1/4 by 5 inches in height. So again, that sits there with a nice frame. So when this is closed, I have got that bit exposed and the bottom bit exposed, and this is where I thought I might fit him. Just looking at whether I want it that way. The alternative is, and I might actually reconsider this panel here, cutting this slimmer, so I don't have any white cardstock in the back here, and maybe not even here. Let me just check what it would look like if I just had him here. This is sort of second thought. I'll have a little think off camera. Well, I had a proper brain fog moment there, didn't I? Because I don't need a panel here for my sentiment if I've got the card behind it for my sentiment. So what I did was I just stuck a tree behind here. I think it's quite nice that the recipient can discover another image here. Then put the little mouse here. I thought he was nicer because he's not as big as the other elf. That would have been a little bit squashed. And the other elf, just because I'd already taken him out, I popped him on the inside. And I added this little North Pole. I could have put a sentiment there, but I thought that was quite nice as well. So I'm happy with that so far. But I want a sentiment to go on the top here. And I thought I might just as well have a play with these vellum sentiments, because I've got loads of these in here. So the best thing to glue, or best way to glue a vellum sentiment down, or any vellum, is to use some clear adhesive tape. And I've just got this stuff on a roll. I get that from a local shop, so I'm just going to use that. And I've got some scrap paper underneath because I know this is wider, but I don't want to bother about that, so I'm just sticking it down. Don't mind wasting it. It cost me under £1, I think, that tape. So, and then the idea is, no, I don't want to peel it off just yet. Let me think. I'll have to see through here now where the vellum is, because obviously I've got overhang. So once I've cut it back to the size of the vellum, the outer thing should come off. Didn't really think this through, but I think we'll manage. I also find with these vellum sentiments, you always use a little bit from the sentiments around these sentiments, because you know you can never get close enough to cut them out. So I've got a little bit of glue exposed, but that's okay. So I'm just thinking whether I give them just a shape like that, or maybe a little bit like a shadow die. So do a little bit of a squiggly line. Because they are vellum, this will sort of blend into the cardstock behind it anyway. So, trying not to overthink it. Oh, I hope I stayed on camera there because I'm zoomed in. So, and I thought that can just go here, maybe at the top, and then the jolly, I want to hide a little bit behind the circle here, so I can then peel this off. So there we go. So can you see how mess free that is? So I'll quickly do that with a jolly and then I'll show you the finished card. Here's my finished card. So with the first panel here, second panel, and then the image here and the 10-fold card here for the sentiment. So it stands up like this. Yeah, and it pops open. It's difficult to show. It pops open a little bit. I think it's also the weight of these elements here. But I think this is a cool card. It's different, but it's so easy to make. I really like this one. I have to think about a special person who gets this card because he's so lovely, this little chap. So yeah, I hope you like this card. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to check out the other ladies' videos. I'm sure they create something that looks completely different to what I have created, because that's the great thing about this Fun Fold Challenge. We all make something different with the same prompt. Yeah, and I'll see you again soon with another video.